as a director of operations, this job is all about whatever your mind is wrapped around is what it's going to be. If you think that you're just an admin, a secretary, name something that might have a negative connotation toward this job, that's what it's going to be for you. If you have a positive mindset on, I am a liaison for their nutrition, I am here to bring them positive energy and help them through whatever they need academically, throughout community service, whatever it is. If you look at it in a positive light, you're going to be that positive light for them.
Hello, baseball fans. I'm your host, Mark Mashad Jr., the Director of Baseball Operations at Stetson University. And welcome to the first interview of a 5-part series where we will bring you closer to the directors of baseball operations from 5 programs around the country. These interviews are for anyone that wants to grow and learn from some of the most committed people in the game. Our first guest is Stephen Branca with the UCF Knights. He's an NAIA national champion, first-team All-American, has played professionally with the San Francisco Giants, and has been a college coach, and now works with Coach Greg Lovely at UCF. I can't wait to bring you his positivity, passion, and enthusiasm. So let's jump right into our interview with University of Central Florida's Stephen Branca.
It's a pleasure to be talking to you. It's you and I remember the first time we talked, it was about a golf tournament, an alumni game, actually trying to get some things figured out between the 2 programs. And I've actually learned a ton from you, and kind of used you, whether you know it or not, as a guy to lean on if I had any questions about the role and what was going on, because I kind of came in blind. I came in as an assistant coach and was very new to the operations role and needed somebody to kind of bounce some things off of, and you were that guy for me. So I'm glad you learned something from me here and there, but I definitely learned some things from you as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. And you being the first guy up, coming in at that leadoff spot, you're the key guy, and I'm excited to have you on here. So why don't we just kick this off? Tell us a little bit about your path. How did you end up, working into the University of Central Florida to be the director of baseball operations? Because it's kind of a different path to get into.
yeah, and so I actually, out of high school, I signed with UCF and played at UCF for a few years. Ended up transferring out to Tennessee Wesleyan during a coaching change. But I was able to get my foot in the door really with this operations role when I was the assistant coach at St. Leo. I used to come over and work camps at UCF. I used to work their camps. And so every time they had a camp, I'd get a phone call saying, hey, you want to come work at camp? You want to come hang out? You want to come work this, And I enjoyed being around them. And oddly enough, I guess they enjoyed being around me enough to hire me at some point. So I built that relationship with those guys by going to work their camp and just be around them. And I was lucky enough, I was one of the only coaches there for majority of their camps. And so whenever the role opened up, Ryan Klosterman, who was the recruiting coordinator and the assistant here at the time, called me up and was like, hey, we have this opening. You should definitely give Love a call, Coach Lovelady a call and see what we got. And I said, yeah, absolutely. Called him right away. And next thing you know, I was driving up to campus and we met and we talked and shoot, here I am.
So just kind of a side question. What's your connection with Klosterman, with Ryan Klosterman?
We've been out on the road recruiting together a ton of times. So, you get to know those guys when you go out and recruit. That's where I got to network and know all these guys. Was you're out on the road, you're all looking at the same players. You're asking each other questions. You're trying to grow as a recruiter and evaluating players. And at the same time, that's where all of the job openings are. You hear about them on the road more so than you see them anywhere else. And so he just gave me a call, and we had kept a close relationship because we talk about players here and there. He'd say, hey, have you seen this guy? Because we're located here in the middle of the state, but closer to the East Coast than we are the West Coast of Florida. And I was on the West Coast, so he'd say, hey, did you see this guy play? What did you think? And kind of run things by each other, which you always want to double, triple check if you can.
Mm-hmm. And so he kind of had a thought that this would. What do you think he saw that made that be like a connection for you to come to UCF? What do you think? And I know it's hard to answer that, but
Well, it's actually not as much as you think it is, because he actually told me, like, look, I just want somebody in the role that I want to be around,
Mhm.
and so I want somebody that I know is going to be passionate about it, somebody that's going to work hard at it, and somebody who, I don't mind showing up to the office and being around every day. And I said, well, I mean, I don't mind being around that guy either. But
Right.
crazy enough, he takes a head coaching job at Bryant, and
And he's
he's
gone.
not even there. He was there for a day that I worked, one
Yeah.
day. And so, um, but I knew I had love, and so he was the guy I was coming to work with anyway from Jump Street. I got really lucky that, Nick Oddie, our pitching coach, is one of the best dudes around and has become a really good friend. Ted Tom is an incredible human being,
Yeah.
and Love is one of the best dudes I've ever been around when it comes to baseball or in life. Like, he's just become a really good friend. And so I get to work with guys that I love to be around, which makes it really easy.
Your work ethic and your drive were something that Coach Lovelady had mentioned as to keys to why he believed you were going to be such a great addition to the UCF baseball program. Um, can you kind of just where does that and I noticed it the minute I met you. Where did that come from? Like how did where does that drive and that work ethic, you know, generate in you?
So I think the work ethic comes from my family, for one. And so I had a dad that played college baseball, and was definitely pushed me and my brothers. And then I had an older brother who 2 years older. So it's just far enough apart to where he's always going to be a step ahead of you for at least the first 15 years.
Mhm.
And so, but not too far to where he is so much better than you that you can't hang with him. And so I worked with him every day. That was my workout partner, baseball and in the weight room. And so every day I got pushed by a guy that was 2 years older than me, 2 years better than me. We got the chance to play together in high school for a few years. And, it was one of those things that when I'm 12 and he's 14 and we're long tossing, he's throwing a heck of a lot further than I am, but he's testing me at the same time. So I was pushed by him the entire way. Um, and then when it comes to the drive, uh, we talked about this a little bit before, is that drive is just another word for, in my mind, for passion. I'm
Mhm.
very passionate about baseball. It's been my life. It's been something I've been a part of my entire life. um, I've yet to work a day in my life, which I don't plan to ever do.
Mhm.
I love what I do. I love the people that I'm around, and I love being around the game. And so when you're passionate about something, it's really easy to be successful. For me, my dad grew up in the Bronx, tough New Yorker, but smarter than ever because he was a Cornell grad. So he's an Ivy Leaguer, played baseball there. And then having a brother 2 years older than me, they both, you want to be like dad, you want to be like brother, you
Right.
want to do what they do. And I think when you start getting pushed, um, it's those ones uh, who just aren't as passionate about it that end up getting burnt out, quote unquote.
Mhm.
When you're passionate about it and you really love it, it's just another day. You look at guys like Trout and Yelich; those guys, they are overtly obsessed with the game of baseball and being
Right.
better every day. And
Yeah.
so those guys are the greatest at their craft right now. Those are the best in the business. And the reason is because they are obsessed about being great. And so once you taste a little bit of success, the next thing you know, that's all you want. And so you're going to do everything you can to get that. And it comes from that work and that effort that you're putting into it. So, um, yeah, they pushed me, but the second I tasted a little bit of success, I mean, all you want is more. I play high school baseball and brand new school, get drafted out of high school by the Twins. And then I choose UCF to come to play my first couple years, had a couple injuries, some serious stuff. So the first one was right before the season in I was 19 years old, so it was 2009 season. I found out that I had a heart issue and needed to actually have heart surgery. My heart rate used to get up to like 270 beats a minute.
Jeez.
Um, and so we were on the field at one point, and like guys were standing a few feet away from me and could feel my heart beating. And so we got me sidelined for a little bit, but so I ended up having heart surgery. It was on opening day that I had to have heart surgery. Um, so I had that.
I'm
Ended
guessing
up actually
throughout the whole year, like you're done,
no,
right?
no. So surprisingly enough, I come back actually 2 weeks later. I come back 2 weeks, and me being who I was, I had a lot of confidence, but never overtly cocky. But I had some confidence to me, and we had just lost on Saturday, and I don't remember what the date was, but it was a Saturday against Monmouth, and you know how that goes. A team comes down from the Northeast, and you're a Central Florida team. You're not supposed to lose to them.
Correct.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's just. I mean,
I have
you
now been on
usually
both sides of that coin.
right, and so I go to our head coach and I say, "Hey, look, I'm ready to go. You want to win tomorrow? Let's go. Put me in. Let's play." I mean, it comes down to it. He doesn't believe me. Goes to the trainer. Trainer's like, if he says he's good, then he's good. So I end up playing. Came a triple shy of the cycle my first game back after heart surgery, and yeah, which was a lot of fun. But then having a good year. About 5-6 games into the year, score from first base, slide around the tag at home plate, and tear my rotator cuff and my labrum, and blew out my shoulder. Gone. Have to have surgery. Um, and then, my path after that was, we had a coaching change, and it wasn't a right fit for me anymore. And so I found a place in Tennessee Wesleyan that a coach, Billy Berry, who I love to this day, and every time we talk, we finish our conversation with "I love you," and he's family to me. And a guy like that believed in me and cared about me was the right guy for me to go play for. Went there, had some success, went to a couple World Series, won one of them. Had some good years, and then went and played 3 years of pro ball after I signed with the Giants after that senior season.
So how do you find Tennessee Wesleyan? How do you go from there to Tennessee Wesleyan?
Everyone asks that because everyone assumes, okay, you'll just go to a Division II in Florida somewhere, great Division II baseball,
Right.
and just stay in the state. I played a couple summers up in Virginia in the Valley League, and our pitching coach was Stephen Baker, who's now a scout for the Padres. And he used to throw batting practice to me every day at 11 o'clock by myself on the field, just me and him. I said, "Hey, I want you to throw to me every day." It was great, 11 o'clock. And then we'll go up, we went and grab lunch every day after that. So we did batting practice every day at 11, go grab lunch together every day. And so we built this relationship to where, after my couple years at UCF, I was like, I just want to go somewhere where I can just relax a little bit and play. And he was the first phone call I made. I didn't care where he was.
Right.
And he happened to be at Tennessee Wesleyan at the time.
Hmm.
So I said, great, I'm in. I don't care where it is. I don't care what it takes to get there. I'm in.
And it just so happens that relationship generated through batting practice and a summer league team then brings you to a guy who has now become an unbelievable mentor and a human being in your life.
Well, between the two of them, I mean, you think about it, it all started because Stephen Baker cared about me. Mm-hmm. If he didn't care about me, he wouldn't have thrown me batting practice every day or going to lunch with me every day. Like, he genuinely bought into me and cared about me. And so because of that, I wanted to play for the guy.
Right.
And that's what we're starting to see with players is that if you believe in them and you love them, they are absolutely going to put out for you. They are going to perform. They are going to give back everything they have for you if they know that you truly care about them.
Mm-hmm. surround yourself with good people, good things happen, right? And so Tennessee Wesleyan has a great head coach. He surrounds himself with a guy who's a great guy. And that leads to you coming to Tennessee Wesleyan. And then, bang, great things happen 2012. And I'm just going to read this off because I can't remember all these things. I mean, 2012 Appalachian Conference Player of the Year, first team All-American NAIA, NAIA All-Tournament first team, and to top it all off, you guys win the 2012 NAIA National Championship, and that's a tough thing. I'm guessing you won that. You went to Lewiston, Idaho.
We went back-to-back years. First year we went 0-2, and so the team before me that went out there in 2010 went 0-2 and came home. We went out there in 2011, went 0-2 and came home. And in 2012, in the newspapers all over Lewiston, they had us written off as 0-2 once again. Just happy to be here.
Right. Crazy. So talk a little bit about that team and about that experience of winning a national championship. And I bring up Lewiston, Idaho, and LC State because I lived in Walla Walla, which is about 2 hours out of Lewiston. So, like, I got to know that culture very well living out there for 10 years.
Yeah, and so a lot of people get a bad perception of NAI. They don't understand it. A lot of times it's guys who they think have had, trouble with the law or did this or did that and all these other things, and that's not entirely accurate. You might have a couple of guys like that here and there throughout the league, not on everybody's team. Majority of the time, it's guys who financially it's the best place for them, or academically it's the best fit for them. Whatever it is, it just happens to be the right place that you can become yourself. And we had a group of guys who, when you say we were willing to fight for each other, literally, we were willing to fight for each other. It happened multiple times outside of the field. These guys were, no matter how much maybe you weren't in love with the guy next to you, you respected him enough to go out there and fight for him every day. Yeah. We had great pitching, but I think leadership, Billy Berry is one of the best motivators I've ever been around. And so he was able to do a lot with a team we had plenty of talent, but how many times do you see teams with talent that can't put it all together and win the big game?
Right, exactly.
It happens all the time. And so for him to be that leader and that motivator that we needed, he was the one we rallied around. For me, the one thing that I can bring to our culture every day, and everybody can bring to their own culture every day, is a positive mindset and being able to show guys the type of passionate worker that you are. And so when you show how passionate that you are about what you're doing each and every day, guys feed off of that. It's contagious. Positivity is contagious. And so the guys see that and they kind of feed off of that as well. I think another thing is, a big pillar of our culture and one of our program is our nutrition. And I'm able to provide those guys with the fuel that they need each and every day, pre and post game. I take pride in that. I think our community service, we led all male sports in the fall in community service hours. That's a testament to our guys and what they're willing to do in our community here in Orlando. And so our guys are bought into what we're doing. I just do my best to provide them a platform to show that. And so, like I said, I'm really lucky that I have guys who are willing to go to 3 elementary schools in 1 week and go visit those kids and do all that. But on my end, as a director of operations, this job is all about whatever your mind is wrapped around is what it's going to be. If you think that you're just an admin, a secretary, name something that might have a negative connotation toward this job, that's what it's going to be for you. if you have a positive mindset on, I am a liaison for their nutrition, I am here to bring them positive energy and help them through whatever they need academically, throughout community service, whatever it is. If you look at it in a positive light, you're going to be that positive light for them. I think it's something that I've really bought into our culture,
Yeah.
which is a very positive culture, very loving culture. And it makes it really easy to adapt to what we got going on. Really just be another positive sounding board for those guys and be there to support those young men, because that's what I got into coaching for in the first place, was for the mentorships, because those amazing mentors that I had in my life. And so now that I can, I might not be on the field with those guys every day in practice, but you know what, I'm there every day to give those guys a hug and tell them I love them. And
Mhm.
you know what, they respect you for it. They provide as much effort as they can for you and the coaching staff. And you know we got an incredible group, and I'm just you know just feeding off of them mostly.
Right. And I had a great chance to be a part of your incredible group of coaches when we were doing bat testing over at
Yeah.
UCF. And I was able to be a part of the Cuban coffees.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That
I'm having
was awesome. That was life changing, by the way.
I'm
That was
telling you, I'm having serious withdrawals for some Cuban coffees. So
tell me about, like, because I literally, after who was the coach making those?
Andy Barquette. So actually, after that, we ended up losing to you guys. I think at that point was when the Cuban coffee creation got passed off to me at that point. And
Oh,
so,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. And so, actually, that's my duty now. Is that there was times where I would mix them up and I would bring them down to the dugout for Andy and Ted Tom. And so I ended up being that guy, and we had a lot of success with it. So,
There
but
is
it started.
there
What's
is
that?
there's an art to making those. I trust
Oh
me.
yeah,
I'm
oh yeah,
making them now.
oh yeah. It's not easy, but and so we got going with that. Andy's a guy that's from Miami. Spent the last 25 years in pro ball, and so Cuban coffee. That guy's been running off of Cuban coffee for a long time now. Probably since he was probably about 8 years old. He's been running off of Cuban coffee.
Well, and I'm talking here. I'm kind of adding it. It's a great little side
Yeah,
story. But this is what you guys said. It's just awesome. Like, I could feel it just being there doing the bat testing. It's like
oh yeah.
everybody come on in. Get in here, guy from the other team. Have a Cuban coffee with us. It's just
Oh, look, we're just trying to share the wealth. I mean, we have a lot of fun, and I think that's what allows guys to perform at a higher level too. Is that they're not so uptight about what's going on, and I can't make a mistake. And these coaches are stone faced all the time. They see us having fun, they see us being positive, but they know we're serious about what we're doing and very passionate about what we're doing. And so it's that right balance of having fun, showing the guys love, but also being locked into what we got going, and eye on the prize, and
yeah.
really being a part of what we're trying to create at UCF.
My wife comes into the office one day and she's like, I didn't know she had seen this on the Amazon purchase. She's like, so where's this new coffee maker that you've purchased, espresso maker that you purchased? So I'm
uh,
like, how do you know about that? She's like, I can see the Amazon book, the cart as well. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Okay. So yeah, I had to now, and I still have to make her a Cuban coffee now. So we'll get that going.
well, I could teach you how to do it. You gotta the espuma is the
Oh, I've
key.
been working it. I got our
All
guys.
right,
I'm making it for our guys back here at
I
Stetson.
love it. I love it.
It's so great. Um,
That's good.
yeah, that's like, there's many ways we add to the cultures.
Yeah.
Let me go to the next question that I kind of had here, and we've been rolling really well. Um, where do you see yourself falling in as a leader in the program? And just because everyone needs to lead, right? Like, everybody being
Yeah.
a leader, right? Like, how do you get in there as a director of operations and see opportunity?
Yeah, I think it's by example. I think it's by showing up every day with the same, no matter what's going on. The going to the field and being around those guys has been kind of my escape from everything. I mean, no matter what's going on, wherever it is in the world or at home or whatever it happens to be, that's your place to go be. And the second you walk through the door and you give that guy a hug and one of your players and just say, you guys love each other and just they know that you're there for them, and they see how hard you work for them. This isn't the stuff that you do in a director of operations role is a pretty thankless job, and you don't need thanks. You do it. You see the rewards from those guys and what they become as players and as men, as students, as everything that they are. And so everything that you put into it, they get something out of it, and that's what you're there for. Is to work as hard as you possibly can to provide the best possible experience for those players. And I think that's how you're a leader is by example
Mhm.
and by providing the best experience possible for those student athletes.
That's good. I'm just writing this down because, I mean, you said it earlier. It's cliche, right? Everyone will say lead by example, lead by example, lead by
Right.
example. But for God's sakes, it's the absolute truth, man. How you walk around that facility during the day and you handle your business that you need to handle. That's exactly how it works. Like that's how you do the leadership thing, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the care that you have for your guys that is obvious and blatant. It's beautiful. Um, so it is, it's those are the two things, that example.
It all comes back to being positive. I think it's really easy to get negative in a role that there's not a ton in our control when it comes to travel and meals and all the other stuff that we're doing on a day-to-day basis. But
Hmm.
staying positive and understanding control what you can control, um, you just do everything you do with a smile on your face and know that it's okay. It's a beautiful day. You get to be around baseball. You get to be around 18 to 22-year-olds that, this is this might be the highlight of their baseball career,
Hmm.
and a very memorable time for them. And you want to be a positive light in that memory.
Right.
And so I've tried to be as positive as I can going through some of the stuff that I've gone through and the adversity that I've overcome at UCF even. And so I
Yeah.
can speak to those guys about personal experience that I've had in the same place.
Hmm.
And so, I carried that through with me to pro ball and on into coaching. It was funny. I was talking to you earlier about, Matt Duffy and I become really good friends. And one day out of batting practice, he he's like, dude, I got to think of a nickname for you. I'm like, why? He's like, because you're always super positive and always have a smile on your face. I don't know if I need to call you happy or smiley or what, but I took that as one of the greatest compliments ever is that I'm having a positive impact on him, and he and I have been best friends ever since. So it's just you can have endless impact by your mindset and by what you bring to the table each and every
Hmm.
day.
And that's crazy because I kind of had a same thing with a buddy who's an absolute best friend, brother of mine back in Walla Walla. And he's like kind of the opposite. He kind of saw the cynical side of things, and he'd always be like, everything's not just happy and roses all the time, and merry-go-rounds. He's like, things are hard, things are tough, And it's like you said, it's how you choose to look at those things,
For
and it's
sure.
very true. It's so right. Like, and we go back and forth. He'd always be like, "Oh, okay, positive, Patrick," like saying stuff like that to me. Um, but it's a lot how you look at it, and baseball is very hard. And then we're talking
Very.
about the game now, which we're not there on the field anymore. This is kind of separate from the game, but I mean, we're still in the game. Baseball is super hard, right? And you have
Yeah.
empathy. It's all failure. It's all getting beat down, um, emotionally and physically, and it's overcoming
Yeah.
fear. Like those three things right there overcoming the emotions, overcoming the physicality, and overcoming the fear that go along with it. If you can master those three things, you're great. And it seems like your story has been, you've had the trials and tribulations of all those things,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And it's not a sob story. It's not a, I don't tell, I've told a bunch of people some of the stuff that I've been through, and it's not to get sympathy or anything from it. It's just to teach a lesson
Mhm.
about how, there were some trying times. I mean, I'm told at 19 years old I got to have a heart surgery, and then not too long after that, hey, everything's gone in your shoulder. You got to have a shoulder surgery, and who knows how you're going to come back as a player from this.
Right,
And you know what? If I was negative about it, I wouldn't be sitting here right now because I probably would have stopped playing.
right. And that's, I mean, and that's just what you get to bring. That's what you bring, the experience, and like, that's not only do you have the experience to talk about, but you have the empathy, that experience. When you were going through it, it probably sucked. It just was like awful. Like who wants to go through that stuff, right? But now with what you get to do,
Yeah,
you have an understanding that I don't even have, because
yeah,
you've gone through things that I haven't. I've gone through things you haven't. So like,
yeah.
we've all got these little unique things we bring to the table, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and they're all lessons. I mean, you learn lessons every day, and you said it at the beginning that we're lifelong learners, and I believe in learning something new every day.
Yeah,
Whether it's about cooking, about self development, about being a dad, whatever it is, I'm trying to learn something new every day,
yeah.
and and in this role, I've definitely been learning something new
Hmm.
every hour. It seems like so.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's tough. We could go days for days on it, but finding out that you love to cook and hit that grill and do all those things, I was like, man, like, this another connection with this guy. I love doing these
Yeah,
things, and we kind of got a little competitive going there with the pictures and all that, and
yeah.
so it's just, this has been really cool to get to know you.
Yeah, it's not easy for most. For me, it always has ever since I would say college. It's come pretty easy just because I know what I know what bad looks like, and so I know that showing up to the field every day and having a job that I get to support student athletes and support a wonderful coaching staff and be a part of such an amazing place in UCF, a great program, like who wouldn't get jacked up about that? I mean, I love what I do. I love the people that I'm around. A lesson that I learned from Darren McMains, our peak performance coach, so basically our mental coach, but so you run into certain things all day, every day that kind of have an impact on you. You have a choice in how you react or respond to them. And I was dealing with I felt like I was being ridden by the coaches sometimes, and he told me to hang up a Q-tip in my locker, and he told me that Q-tip stood for quit taking it personal. And that's when it really hit with me that he and I had a full blown conversation about how, like, hey, like one, these guys and what they're saying, it's not personal. Like it's not. The other thing is like there are a series of events that are going to happen throughout the day and throughout your life, and you have a choice in how you respond to those things.
It's hard not to take those things personal, and having that little Q-tip in the toolbox per se is really helpful. And when you told me those two stories, I was like, dang, I'm writing that down. I am going to have a Q-tip in my office the next time I get in there,
Yeah.
and it's gold. It's awesome, and
Yeah. The day I got released, I took my Q-tip with me.
I'm taking it with
I'm
me.
taking it with me.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I was taking it with me. But the power of choice is such a powerful it's a powerful aspect of life. I mean, not to get super deep with you here, but I mean, like I said, there's so many different events that go on throughout the day, not to mention your life, that I mean, you can react really negative to and let it affect you for days or weeks if you want.
Mm-hmm.
And so in this role, you're going to run into people who don't appreciate you, run into people that don't treat you right, run into people who, you know, don't want to deal with you and talk to you in ways that you shouldn't be talked to. And you know what? You can brush it off and keep moving and stay positive about it, or you can get ticked off and let it bother you.
Right.
You know, I also learned from, it was funny, my dad, this is a story we didn't talk about, but I think I got some of my positivity from my dad because we were in San Francisco on a family vacation, and some guy was crossing the road or something. I forget what it was, but he's crossing the street, and he did not like the way my dad was driving, I guess, and gives him the bird, double birds. And what does my dad do back? He just gives him a thumbs up. Gave him a thumbs up and just kept right on driving.
He
You
did
know, it
not
doesn't do any good.
personal, and he had
No,
an outstanding response.
right. And that's coming from a guy from the Bronx. I mean, that could have turned out really bad. So,
Oh man. Well, Stephen, I mean, I think we've definitely hit on all the things here, um, and got a great look at you and what you've done through your career. And I really thank you. Like I'm telling you, I have had the best conversations with you before this, but now just getting this opportunity to sit down and talk to you, going through these things today, you took me to another level. And again, like I really appreciate your time. This was a blast, and I know there's somebody's out there. So if this interview can inspire one person to kind of follow a career in sport and athletics, or some coach somewhere takes a little nugget of something, I know that I definitely have taken many nuggets of stuff from you, and I really appreciate your time. Thanks for being so open with all your stories and everything.
yeah.
And, do you have any parting words?
No, really, I mean, I've really enjoyed it. I think if I had a message to everybody out there, I mean, just stay positive. I mean, there's a lot that's going on in the world right now that could turn really negative really fast, but it's not going to do any good. I mean, let's be serious. People always ask, you know, how's your day going, or you know, whatnot. But and they don't want a real answer because everyone good, good, good. But I mean, be positive about everything that's going on in life, everything that's going on around us right now. I think it will change your mindset. It definitely has mine, and I hope that I could pass that positivity on to others. I know it is contagious. I've seen it with our guys. I've seen it with past teams. Um, I think it's a very powerful thing. So
Awesome. All right, Stephen. Well, I'm gonna keep carrying on that torch of positivity and not taking things personal, and then having a good response, brother. So I love you. Thank you for your
I
time.
love you too, man.
And
I appreciate it.
you absolutely. Have a great evening, and we'll check in with you later. Thanks,
All
Stephen.
right, sounds good, man.
Yeah.